Welcome back to the World Cafe. I'm David Dye. Matthew Logan Vasquez is one prolific guy. He is a member of Delta Spirit, the band he joined in 2005. Also the band of like-minded frontmen called Middle Brother that includes Taylor Goldsmith of Dawes. But since last year, he's been embracing a solo career that includes Solicitor Returns, his debut, and the new one, Does What He Wants. The new album was recorded during a year of financial hardship that found Matthew and family, including their one-year-old, moving in with his wife's family. Whatever the reason, Does What He Wants is a great listen. I have to tell you that I think this record is really impressive, and I don't want to, pit two of your offspring against each other, but this is a really, really strong record, and I know you worked on it. You worked on it in your trailer studio.
Yeah, my mom's boyfriend has a trailer out in Dripping Springs, and it couldn't be a more opposite setting to what Solicitor Returns was, which was like a flooded, like Hurricane Sandy flooded, like gross rat-infested place, and instead it was a kind of dilapidated trailer, so I guess you have that. But I had foxes and deer, and there's a big jackrabbit running around outside, so I'd be working, and it was just kind of paradise.
You brought in a bunch of friends.
Yeah, I did. Actually, these gentlemen, Judd Johnson on the drum kit, Spencer Garland on the keys, and Brendan Bond helped out at certain different times, and also Chris Bouchata from Shaky Graves, and Cam Franklin of The Sufferers, who I love so much.
We all love. What's not to love? Cam Franklin, a great vocalist. And there's some background vocals, too.
That's right. Yeah, the Parkington sisters from Cape Cod.
Well, now, I got to ask you about that because the first song we heard from here is this one called Same. And it is, I got to say, people could hear this and they could maybe not be sure that it's you. It doesn't necessarily sound like what you've done in the past. Did you kind of swing for the fences on this?
No, I set out initially to make a record that kind of would just be more palatable. Like the Solicitor Returns record was very much a reaction to everything I'm not allowed to do in Delta Spirit. And then I wanted to make a record that was just more well-rounded and kind of spoke at everything. And I'm a big fan of Jeff Lynne, so there you go.
Now, describe what you mean by that's ELO for people that don't get it. But what about his stuff do you like?
Just like that driving drum beat and all the polyrhythm and melodies that just counteract each other.
And there's so much going on in those records, and yet they're kind of dry.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, you don't need to fluff it all up with too much reverb.
Well, so does that what the title mean? Matthew Logan Vasquez does what he wants?
Yeah, it's kind of nodding at the last record, the Solicitor Returns record, and kind of being like, well, that's part of it too. And also with the Delta Spirit stuff, just trying to, get it all done. Like having these songs that I really believe in, and I just have to get them out.
Well, this is one you may have heard, and it's called Same. Thank you very much and good night. That's a pretty strong open. That's
Thanks.
great. That is Same. That is one of the great songs from Matthew Logan Vasquez, Does What He Wants, and he is our guest today on the Cafe. You know, that is such a great and optimistic sounding song until you kind of dig into the lyrics a little bit, because there's references to, you know, your financial situation and all that in there.
Yeah.
How did you decide to take it in a more optimistic way?
Well, you know, blues is happy music, and I've always been a fan of that. But a lot of this record is about coming up and getting through things and walking out the other end of it. And a lot of this record and what it is for me emotionally and financially to have another record come out again so quickly and take care of a family. And I lived with my mom for a year while I made this, and we kind of had a financial restart in my family, and you know, picking up the pieces again. You know, I was fortunate enough to pay my own way, and I didn't have to take public assistance, though I probably should have. But you know, my family kind of doesn't normally do that.
Right.
So.
Well, you know, it's really interesting to listen to a rock star talk about the reality of the finances of doing what you do.
Sure.
And I don't think people think about it a lot, but you go out, and you're out for a couple of months now, and there's a lot of people to pay.
Yeah, you have a tour manager, you have a lighting guy, you have a merch seller, you have a booking agent that's getting a cut, you have a manager that's getting a cut, you have a lawyer that's getting a cut, you have a business manager that's getting a cut.
Yeah.
And a lot of, at a certain level of your business, all of those things are really important. But when you slide it all back, I'd rather pay myself to do some of those jobs.
I hear you. As if everybody who's listening to this went out and bought a copy of the new record, that wouldn't even help that much nowadays.
Well, it'll help me because I manufactured it.
Oh, there you go. Good. That's quite good. Matthew Logan Vasquez is our guest today. There is a song on here I'd love to hear about because I really like it a lot, and it's called Redfish. Rhythmically, it's kind of a Tex-Mex thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned, or I read that you put together this Spotify playlist, which I went to check out, called Oeso, which means
The Bone.
The Bone. Now, how did that playlist affect this song, or it was the other way around?
It was the other way around. We were actually forever busy. I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I rented an Airbnb because Middle Brother was unavailable to make a friend record, so I made one with some other friends. So Noah Gunderson, David Ramirez, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, Kelsey Wilson from Wild Child. We all rented this Airbnb, and we were all hanging out. And Adrian Casada from Grupo Fantasma and Brownout.
Oh, okay.
And so him and then Jason Blum, another songwriter in this project, the two of them were just harping on like Oeso, and we were just talking about like Mexican music and conjunto and all sorts of craziness. But I just went through. Spotify is the best for just discovering these weird things, and it's like some of those songs pulled off in that playlist are just like vacation, like 80s vacation Mexican bands, and they're great.
They are, and if you want to kind of get the major sound of it, if you think Texas Tornadoes,
Oh, yeah.
that's in there. But there's all this great bands from Mexico in there too as well. So it's very interesting. It's interesting how similar all those bands are from wherever they may be from.
Yeah,
So-
it's that German influence.
The accordion.
Yeah.
There you go. So can you do that one, Redfish?
Yeah.
Redfish off the coast, I was on the beach. Threw out my line to see what fishes came to me. Never came. Picked a fight with an off-duty cop. He told me I was. Too many Mexican martinis, they got into my blood. They hit when they swing, and I saw two. They hit when they swing. On the curb they made me sit. Yeah. Zip ties around my wrist. Yeah. Thinking to myself that it might be funny to put it on black. I bet all of my money in it red. I took the chips at the table couldn't make it to the exit, I might be able. Security had the upper hand, and I saw two. The hell when they swing, and I saw two. The hell when they swing. Spencer Garland hit that word. Fisher off the coast, red fisher off the coast. Gotta get out of this mosquito pit. I'm gonna let my lawyer handle it. Hey, David Rappaport, picked a fight with an off-duty cop, and he told me how it was. Too many Mexican martinis, they got into my blood. They hit when they swing, and I saw two. They hit when they swing, and I saw two. They hit when they swing.
That's Matthew Logan Vasquez, and that is Redfish, and his lawyer gets an actual shout out in that one. So that's he's in the video too.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely.
I just found the most embarrassing picture of him I could find on his Instagram.
I was noticing that your set list, you do, songs you wrote for Middle Brother, you do Delta Spirit songs. Has it all become your music now, or how do you see that?
Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time by myself writing those songs, so I think I should be able to play them. But, and the guys are cool with it. So
Yeah.
I like playing the songs that makes them happy. And I think part of that desire to be like that's kind of Willie Nelson does that. He just plays the greatest hit set.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, Delta Spirit is still a going thing and will eventually reappear?
Someday.
Someday.
In 2020.
Okay. Matthew, I want to ask a little about your family. Where did you actually grow up? Is it near where you are now?
I was born in California, but I grew up in Austin as a kid and up until high school. And I was south of South Austin, so the Manchac area.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're at South by Southwest and doing all of that stuff, I lived south of there in some cozy little suburb against some farmland.
In the song Fires Down in Mexico, you refer to Chicano blood on your father's side.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your grandfather died recently. Was that the side of the family?
Yeah, that was him, Manuel Vasquez.
Tell me about him. He seems like a really influential guy.
He's a really special person. I mean, everybody's grandpa is really special. My grandpa grew up as a machinist. He joined the Navy. That's where he got Chuck from. He became.
You mean he was called Chuck in the Navy?
Yeah, like I think it's just easier to say Chuck.
Yeah, than Manuel.
But he was in a month on accident in jail for walking through like a unionist protest back in the day, and he married my grandma in Long Beach, California. He was career Navy.
Wow.
Traveled all over the world. Dragged my dad and his 3 brothers everywhere. Lived in Hawaii in the 60s. All sorts of fun places.
Wow. What's the other side of your family like?
Scotch-Irish, motorcycle riding, atheist. Really pretty amazing people.
How'd they meet?
My parents, or they met at Michigan State. My
Really?
mom's from Michigan. My grandma, Vivian, who has her own song in Delta Spirit.
That's right.
She's from LaGrange, Georgia. And we have family that fought in both the Confederacy, the Union, the Battle of 1812, the Revolutionary War. So it was a big bunch of bloody, muddy people.
Yeah. So do you identify as Chicano, or?
I identify as American.
Yeah.
But, it's like my side of, I'm a 7th generation born Californian. So, like, the border crossed my family, and in Arizona, that family. And so Yeah, I mean, sure, I'm Chicano, but I'm also Scotch, Irish, German, Jewish, Italian, French. I identify with it because of the stories that my grandparents told me and how my grandma sold tamales for a nickel on the Santa Monica Pier, and my great-grandma picked, So I identify with that.
Well, now what exactly is Fires Down in Mexico? What are the fires that you're referring to in the song?
I just remember when sometimes you get these winds that blow up from Mexico, and if you're in a border state, they can travel hundreds of miles, and you can just smell that smell. It's like sometimes it's burning trash, or it's like a grass fire or something, but it's just a specific smell that you think about when the sun is going down, and it's like kind of orange out.
So this is Fires Down in Mexico.
I took a shower in the creek. The oily surface from the rainy days. It's too damn hot to do a thing. I sit for hours, watch the children chase the dog. Too proud for this beer. Chicano blood on my father's side. Mosquito cloud, it's time to go. I can smell the fire down in Mexico. Before the week I make a list, Xing out where I got bit.
That's Fires Down in Mexico, another one from Matthew Logan Vasquez Does What He Wants, and he's out on the road, and we'll be back in a moment here on the World Cafe.